So we've cut off the end portion of the round rigid section and placed it onto the straight section, and you can barely notice the space difference between here and here. And now this looks like your standard Code 80 Atlas switch end right here. This rail will be coming out. This rail, because this is FlexTrack, will be able to slide while we make our switch. Next step is to go and figure out where to cut the ties to place in the round section and line it up to make a frog. So we'll get back to that in a moment. And this can all be done by hand. So I might not be able to give exact measurements, but I can tell you one thing. Doing it this way by hand, you can vary, depending on the radius, you can vary your switch turnout anywhere from here to there, as long as these end rails at the end stay in alignment and you do not break the plastic ties. That's very important. If you break the plastic ties, you're going to be SOL, because then your frog points are not going to line up and the ends of your switch here are going to want to move, and your train is probably always going to derail. So we'll see how this works out in the next part. Okay, welcome back real quick. We've put on our end ties and glued that down using our, this is going to be our one of our switching rails. So now the next step is to line this up correctly. We're going to remove this rail here, and we're going to sand from 3 ties down. Okay, we're going to sand these off for now, just those 5 ties, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. And instead of using this rail and pulling it out of the plastic, we are going to borrow our round rail that we took out to go and place into here and measure and tie in to this. And then we will be able to stack the 2 on top and measure our cuts. And then next step will be to file these, and we'll be back. Okay, so here we're going to be taking a small flat diamond file, and we'll be filing down the, you can call them spikes, on these ties here. 1, 2, 3, 4, possibly 5. You might only have to go to 4. It depends on the radius that you're making your switch, but possibly up to 5. And then we'll be putting in our round rail and see how it lines up, and we'll be back. Okay, we're back. We've taken our borrowed section of round rail and filed off 5 ties. And it's probably not going to show up very well on my phone, but if you can see the nibbles where the spikes would be, when you get to the 6th one, the spike will be on the very outside bottom edge of the rail. Now I've attached a bumper here and put it in place, and it works perfectly. I borrowed a truck from one of my little cabooses, and it rolls perfectly fine. This is in perfect gauge. You can see there's a little wobble, which is what you want for going around tight radius curves, and we're within a 1/4 millimeter tolerance. And even here we can pretty much go all the way to the round side of the edge, and at this point we start to lose it. So right about here is where we really start to lose it, and we're going to figure out where our points are going to go. but the next step will be cutting the ties and placing the round piece in, which we have already gone and semi-straightened to go into the 3 ties there. We're going to cut those, and that'll be the next part of the video.